Today I am going to discuss about how to analyze oxygen level in the arterial blood gas. I am going to do an experiment. I am going to take arterial blood sample from patient. This patient arterial blood sample I am going to take in the outside. Ideally it should contain partial pressure of oxygen. Partial pressure of oxygen. How much? Yes, good. 80 to 100 millimeter mercury. If you are a healthy normal adult, you can ask why, what are the point of doing ABG in healthy normal adult. But for the experiment purpose, if you are going to do an ABG in healthy normal adult, healthy young adult, the arterial blood gas should be somewhere around 80 to 100 millimeter mercury. That person going to inspire 21% of oxygen. 21% of oxygen in atmosphere oxygen. Alveolar partial pressure roughly about 100 millimeter mercury. When it comes into here, it reduces into 90. When it comes into here, it is reduced into 80. When it comes into alveoli, not the alveoli is not there. When it comes into mitochondria, it reduces into 10 to 1 millimeter mercury. This side, 40 millimeter mercury. Here saturation somewhere around 99 to 100% oxygen saturation. Here oxygen saturation 75%. If I draw a oxygen reduction from top to bottom, it will be like this. Here your atmospheric oxygen partial pressure roughly about 159 atmosphere. When it comes into major airway, trachea, once it fully oxygenated, fully humidified, yes, once it fully, thank you for correcting it. Once it fully humidified, this is atmospheric, this is trachea. It's about 149 millimeter mercury. Once it comes into your alveoli, because of the mixing of the carbon dioxide, it reduces into 100 millimeter mercury. This is your alveoli. Then, once it comes into your aorta or major artery, because of the shunting, this is arterial, this is alveoli. Because of the shunting, this is about 180 millimeter mercury, 180 to 100 millimeter mercury. When it comes to capillary level, I am going to erase it. When it comes to capillary level, it is roughly about 10 millimeter mercury. Not the capillary level, at the level of mitochondria. When it comes to mitochondrial level, it is 10 millimeter mercury. But your blood not come into mitochondria. Mitochondria will be here. Here blood return into back. Your venous side partial pressure roughly about 40 millimeter mercury. Here 159, 149, 180 and mitochondrial level approximately 10 millimeter mercury. Venous side 40 millimeter mercury. This look like cascade. Because of that, we are going to call it as oxygen cascade. This was discovered by me. Because of that, Dr. Dinosia's oxygen cascade. This name is Dr. Dinosia's oxygen cascade. No, I didn't discover this one. This one going to call as oxygen cascade. If someone asked to draw an oxygen cascade, you can draw like this. 159 at atmosphere, 149 at tracheal level, 100 at alveoli level, arterial level 80 to 100. You no need to draw this one actually. This is mitochondrial level. This is your venous level of partial pressure of oxygen. What I did is, I put blood from the arterial side. I found how 80 to 100 millimeter mercury partial pressure was there. The commonly encountered problem in critically ill patient is low partial pressure of oxygen in arterial blood. Low partial pressure of oxygen in arterial blood. They define low partial pressure of arterial blood oxygen level once it less than 60 millimeter mercury. But my value is 80 to 100. The normal value should be 80 to 100. But they define as 60. They says once it becomes less than 60, you have to take action. Before that, you have to take action. You have to take seriously once it's less than 60. Why is that? Anyone? If you remember your ODC curve, oxygen dissociation curve, if truly speaking, oxygen association dissociation curve, because both happening in the same curve. If you draw oxygen association dissociation curve, here your percentage of saturation, Here your partial pressure. In your arterial blood have 100% saturation. Partial pressure somewhere around 80. Even though it is 60, it is 100% saturated. Not 100%, 92% saturation. Once it comes into 60, 92% saturated. Here. Your venous side saturation is 75. Partial pressure is 40. Here 75%. Partial pressure is 40 millimeter mercury. Partial pressure is 40 millimeter mercury. You have 50% of saturation when your partial pressure becomes 27. Here it is 27. When it becomes 27, you have 50% of saturation. If somebody asks to draw a oxygen association dissociation curve, first of all, you should identify this point. What are the point? Number one, 50% saturation, which happened at 27 millimeter mercury of partial pressure of oxygen. 75% saturation, 40 millimeter mercury of oxygen. 60 millimeter mercury of oxygen, 92 saturation, 80 millimeter of mercury of pressure, 100% saturation. Then I am going to connect those points. Started from here, here to here to here to here to here. This is my oxygen association dissociation curve. O2 association dissociation curve, commonly called oxygen dissociation curve. The reason for this kind of sigmoid shape is when your oxygen not having in your hemoglobin. That means when your hemoglobin free of oxygen, hemoglobin is under the state of called tense state. Once your oxygen bound to it, it becomes relaxed state. Further oxygen binding will be easy because now it is in the relaxation. First 3-4 oxygen bonding very difficult because your hemoglobin in the tense state. Once it bound 2 or more molecules, 1 or more molecules, it become relaxed state. Rest of oxygen binding will be easy. One hemoglobin molecule can carry 4 oxygen molecules. Initially hemoglobin in the tense state. Very difficult to bind oxygen. Once it bind, other area also going to be open. This area now oxygen bound. Because of that, this area now relaxed, ready to bind oxygen. Because of that, this curve actually this be like this. That means initial part very difficult, but latter part is very easy. One other thing. Once it become less than 60, it is steeply reduces the saturation when partial pressure is reduced. Because of that, if your patient having 60 millimeter of mercury, in next few minutes, if partial pressure drop into 50 and 40, the saturation can be dangerously low. Not only saturation, your patient is so under danger, can die even. Because of that, you have to have at least 60 millimeter mercury partial pressure in your blood when you are doing the arterial blood gas analysis. If you have found a patient with less than 60 millimeter mercury partial pressure, I am going to erase this one. If you found a patient with less than 60 partial pressure or less than 80 millimeter mercury partial pressure of oxygen, it may be due to problem in the atmosphere. It may be due to problem in the atmosphere. If you are patient in the high altitude, at the top of the Mount Everest, total partial pressure at the top of the Mount Everest, total pressure or atmospheric pressure at the top of the Mount Everest will be about 200. From this 200, 21% belong to oxygen. That means 40 millimeter mercury is there. That means your inhaled oxygen also containing 40 millimeter mercury. Because of that, you have partial pressure oxygen in the blood less than 80 millimeter of mercury. So, in addition to that, if you have some lung pathologies, thickening of the alveolar capillary membrane, thickening of the blood vessels will lead to lesser distribution, lesser transfer of oxygen into blood. Because of that, your patient can have low partial pressure. Number one, due to low atmospheric pressure. Number two, lung damage. This is one, this is two, lung damage. During these two processes, patient developed hypoxia. Hypoxia, definition for hypoxia. Who is going to tell me definition of hypoxia for me? In that case, you can easily tell. It is for me, not for the exam. Just what is the definition of hypoxia? Reduced oxygen at the tissue level. Reduced oxygen at the tissue level is defined as hypoxia. So, your patient developed hypoxia or reduced partial pressure in the arterial blood subsequently at the tissue level due to reduced oxygen supply from the outside. Reduced oxygen supply from the outside. Because of that, these two we are going to call as hypoxic hypoxia. Hypoxic hypoxia. Due to some reasons, your myocardial can be failed following myocardial infarction. Your myocardium or heart can be failed. Pumping action going to be failed. If so, what happened is the blood will pump from here to here gradually reduced. Initially, it has cardiac output roughly about 5 liters per minute. Now, because of the failed myocardial cells, you have 2 to 3 liters per minute cardiac output. Your oxygen continuously going to taken from here to here. Because now you are receiving lesser amount of oxygen due to less cardiac output, your tissue may be having hypoxia. If your patient having such kind of hypoxia, it is mainly due to stagnation of the blood due to low cardiac output. We are going to call it as stagnant hypoxia. Very good. We are going to call it as number 2, stagnant hypoxia. If your patient having low HP or low hemoglobin, hemoglobin is the one which carried oxygen. One hemoglobin molecule can carry 4 oxygen molecule. If you are having anemia, you deliver lesser amount of oxygen to here. Your tissue can become hypoxic, lack of oxygen. Because of that, your patient can develop tissue hypoxia. That hypoxia we are going to call as number 3, hypoxia, anemic hypoxia. Even though you received adequate amount of oxygen from here to here, there are conditions which cannot utilize in the oxygen at the tissue level. That happen when you are become diabetic. Even though you have larger amount of money, larger amount of food, very favorable, very tasty food, you can't eat. The same thing happen at this level. Even though you have enough oxygen here, you can't utilize oxygen. Because if you are utilize oxygen, your sugar level start to go south. Not sugar level. What happens here is your cytochrome oxidase enzyme system is going to be inhibited by certain drugs like cyanide poisoning. Your cytochrome oxidase now blocked. Because of that, your oxidative phosphorylation cannot be happen. Tissue hypoxia develop due to cytotoxic effect. Due to cytotoxic effect of the cyanide. We are going to call it as number 3. 2, 3 is there. Number 4, cytotoxic hypoxia. Your patient can have hypoxic hypoxia. Your patient can have stagnant hypoxia. Your patient can have anemic hypoxia. Your patient can have cytotoxic hypoxia. So, to relieve those kind of hypoxia, you can't relieve cytotoxic hypoxia by giving oxygen. All the other condition, you can reduce the incidence of having or reduce the severity of hypoxia by giving oxygen. So now what I am going to do is, my patient found to have partial pressure less than 80, I am going to give oxygen for my patient. For a while think, I found partial pressure of oxygen in the arterial blood roughly about 40 mm mercury. It is dangerously low. Actually, this should be the venous value. But now patient having 40 millimeter of mercury arterial pressure. What I am going to do is I am going to give oxygen. I am going to give oxygen. Initially patient on 21% oxygen. Because of dangerously low partial pressure, I initially started with 80% oxygen. I started with 80% oxygen. After about couple of hours, I repeat the ABG. I found to have, I increase into 30%. We will increase gradually. After about 2 hours, I found to have ABG value with the partial pressure of 55 millimeter mercury. 55 millimeter mercury. Then I increase into the 60% oxygen. Then I increase into 60% oxygen. Then I found I have a value of 130 millimeter mercury. 130 millimeter mercury partial pressure of oxygen in blood. I repeat ABG here, 2 hour ABG. I repeat here 2 hour ABG. Then what I did is I reduced into 50%. After about 2 hours, I repeat ABG. I found to have value of 100 millimeter mercury. Now I am happy. The partial pressure should be somewhere around 80 to 100. In critically ill patient, at least should have 60. 60 to 100 is the good one to prevent the tissue hypoxia. So now I am happy. This is happy face of me. Black color is the same color me. Teeth should be white. Whitening is there. The happy face should be belong to me. What I did is I found to have partial pressure of 40 millimeter mercury with the 21% of critically ill patient. Increase into 30%, 55 millimeter mercury achieved. Increase into 60%, 130 millimeter achieved. Increase into 50%, not increase, reduce into 50%, 100 achieved. Now I am very, very happy. The same thing can happen in the critical, we are ventilated patients. When we are doing the ABG, we can found partial pressure of oxygen, even 200 millimeter mercury. Some patient, you may have experienced this one. What is the bad thing having higher amount of oxygen? Is it good to have higher amount of oxygen in the blood? You are very enthusiastic. You want to stop all the tissue hypoxia. You give larger amount of oxygen to your patients. What happens? Your oxygen going to react with, going to produce oxygen free radicals. Your oxygen going to produce free radicals. Higher amount of oxygen is not going. Oxygen going to produce free radicals here. Hypoxia also not good. Large amount of oxygen also going to produce free radicals. Hydrogen peroxide, superoxide dismutase like molecules. Those molecules go and react with your cell membrane and cell destruction will occur. These free radicals, those free radicals go and react with your cell membrane and cell membrane will start to damage and ultimately cell destruction will happen. Because of that, too much oxygen also not good. You have to prescribe actually oxygen. Oxygen is a drug. You have to prescribe. The therapeutic level should be 60 to 100 millimeter mercury. This is above therapeutic value, not good at all. Now I want to reduce this one. This patient was on 60% oxygen. I reduce him to 30%. Then I repeat ABG in 2 hour time. I found to have value of 55 millimeter mercury. 2 hour ABG. Here again 2 hour ABG should be. After about 2 hours, because of 55 I increase into the 40%. After about 2 hours I again repeat ABG. Came value of 80 millimeter mercury. I want to have 100, because of that I increase into 45%. Then I repeat ABG, I came value of 100 millimeter mercury. 80 also doesn't matter, but I am so enthusiastic, because of that I want to keep it sharp at 100 millimeter mercury. So I achieve 100 millimeter mercury with 45% of oxygen. Here I achieve 100 millimeter mercury. For that, here I have to do 1 ABG here, 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 1 ABG. I am so much happy because I achieved correct oxygen concentration of the patient. But did you imagine the patient face? He is not happy at all. From here to here, I have punctured his artery 1, 2, 3, 4 times. This patient also 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times. I have punctured 4 times the artery. Patient not happy. Nurses also not happy. Because they have to assist several times. They have to put that into the machine several times. Nurses also not that much happy. You know, hospital director is angry. Why? Hospital director is too much angry because of the high cost by doing 4 arterial blood gas to control the blood sugar, blood partial pressure of oxygen. It's not good at all. Not good at all. Because of that, I am going to do an experiment right now. I am going to do an experiment to identify if your patient having 40 mm of mercury pressure with 21%, how much of oxygen you should have in order to achieve 100% of oxygen. Its value should be 50. Here also, if your patient having 200 mm mercury of partial pressure in the blood due to high oxygen concentration, in order to have 100 mm mercury partial pressure in your blood, how much of partial pressure you should have? 45%. I am going to calculate this value. I am going to do an experiment to identify what happened is there. Who want to come with me to do experiment? Yes. For that experiment, I need different kind of patients. I need different kind of patients. Patient who having zero shunt, like me, young, healthy, teenage group adult, having 0% shunt, and patient with 30, 40, 5 to 10 shunt, 10 to 20, 15-year-old, 20 to 30, 18, 19, the diseased lung may having 30% shunt, further diseased lung may having 40% shunt, and 50% shunt patient as well. I need different kind of patients which having different amount of shunt. I am going to put a graph here. For this axis, I am going to measure the partial pressure of oxygen in the arterial blood. Partial pressure of oxygen in the arterial blood. For this axis, I am going to put percentage of oxygen we are going to give. Percentage of oxygen. You know, each and every person in the world right now receiving at least 21% of oxygen. Because of that, I am not going to start with 0. 0 will kill the patient. My experiment will be totally blast. I am going to start with 21% of oxygen. If I take healthy young adult with 0 shunt, his blood should be containing approximately 100 mm of partial pressure, 100 mm mercury, partial pressure of oxygen. When I increase it gradually, 21, 40, 60, 80, 100. When I increase gradually, it gradually increases. When I increase gradually, it gradually increased. This is patient with 0 shunt. Then I select patient who having 5% shunt. Patient who having, it may be 40-year-old you. I can't take that chance because my shunt level is 0. I am 25-year-old still. So I am taking you having 5% shunt. With the starting, because of the 5% here, starting value is roughly about 95. 5% shunt is there. 95. When I increase this one also gradually increased. The graph will be like this. This graph belongs to 5% shunt person. Then I take patient with, not the patient, person with 10% shunt. Starting value should be somewhere here, and again I can see graph like this. Then I take 20% shunt, here 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% and 50%. What I found is, when I increase oxygen, person who do not have shunt, they gradually increase the more or less linearly increase the partial pressure of oxygen in the arterial blood. Here 100, here it must be 200, here must be 300, here must be 500, here must be 400. When I increase in the partial pressure, it gradually increase the amount of partial pressure of the oxygen in the blood. But when your patient having disease, the amount of increase will be gradually reduced. If you found a patient with here, this patient having 0 to 5 shunt, this patient will have 0 to 5 shunt. This patient having 5-10% shunt. This one have 10 to 20% shunt, 20 to 30% shunt, 30 to 40% shunt, 40 to 50% shunt. If you have 50% shunt, even though given 100% oxygen, you can't achieve enough oxygen concentration in your blood. You can't increase actually. You can't increase oxygen level in the blood. That means from here to here, even though you give oxygen, you can't increase, because most of the blood shunted from here to here will not oxygenate with your blood. Will not oxygenate. They are acting as a shunt. Now, what I am going to do in my first patient. First patient found was on 21% of oxygen. Partial pressure was 40 millimeter mercury. With the 21% oxygen, partial pressure was 40 millimeter mercury. That means with the 21%, my patient was here. For a while I think my patient is here. That means the person's shunt is somewhere around these two lines. That means shunt fraction should be somewhere around 20 to 30%. My patient, the shunt fraction should be somewhere around 20 to 30% shunt. I want to have 100 millimeter mercury partial pressure in the blood. I want to have 100 millimeter mercury partial pressure in the blood. Then what I am going to do is, I am going to identify the 100 line, 100 point. I am going to elongate it from here to here. It crossed the line where the 20 to 30% shunt is appear. Here it crossed 20 to 30% shunt area. I am take midpoint it here. Then I take downward from here to here. I found a fraction of 60%. I found a fraction of 60%. That means my patient having 20 to 30% shunt, in order to having 20 to 30% shunt, and my patient having 40 millimeter mercury partial pressure with 21% of oxygen. In order to have 100% oxygen, here with this shunt, you should have at least 60% oxygen. You should have at least 60% oxygen. You only, what I am going to do is, I am going to increase the FiO2 into 60% now. FiO2 into 60% now. After about 2 hours, I am going to repeat ABG. This is my happy pace. I came value roughly about 100 millimeter mercury. I came value roughly about 100 millimeter mercury. Now I am going to reduce oxygen by using this diagram. I am going to reduce. In my previous patient was on 60% oxygen. Previous patient was on 60% oxygen. With that, he had 200 millimeter mercury partial pressure. That means 200 millimeter of mercury partial pressure with the 60% oxygen. That means his shunt, that patient shunt should be somewhere around 5 to 10%. Should be somewhere around 5 to 10%. Now I am coming along with that curve. I'm going to come along with that curve until we meet the 100 point. I'm coming along with that line. I will meet 100% here. My patient actually need to have 30% or 25 or 28% of oxygen in order to achieve 28% of oxygen in order to achieve 100 millimeter mercury partial pressure. Did you get my point or am I teaching myself? I will repeat it again. With the 60% oxygen, my patient had 200. That means my patient value in between these two lines. That means my patient in between 5 to 0 shunt, 0 to 5 to shunt. I came with that shunt line into until we met the 100. Then I am going to put that amount of oxygen to my patient. Previously what I did is, what I found is with the 21% oxygen, 40 millimeter mercury. The shunt fraction in between 20 to 30. I went through that iso shunt line until I met the 100 millimeter mercury. That much of oxygen I put into my patient. With that I achieve 100 millimeter mercury. This is my happy patient. This is my happy patient. This is my nurse's happy patient. This is my patient's happy patient. This is my hospital director happy patient. By using this chart, you can predict how much of oxygen you need to provide your patient. You no need to do repeated blood gas. You have to do one or more to confirm it, but you no need to do repeated blood gas. This shunt line, we are going to call that iso shunt line. Iso. I am pretty sure in your theatre site, in your hospital, in your ICU, in your ward setup, in your phone, in the Google, this site shunt will be available freely. If you do ABG, you go through this iso shunt line, identify how much of oxygen you need to provide to your patient, how much of oxygen you should reduce from your patient in order to reduces the unnecessary lipid peroxidation by oxygen free radical. So now I am going to move into venous blood gas. I am going to move into venous blood gas. Very little but very, very important thing regarding the venous blood gas. Most of the time, I am going to guess it first. I am going to move into the venous blood gas. Most of the time, when you are anesthetizing a patient, during the surgery, most of the consultant anesthetists will prefer to have venous blood gas rather than arterial blood gas. You know why? One thing is, no need to puncture the artery. You can take the CVP line easily. Puncturing of artery also doesn't matter, the patient is under anesthesia. I will tell why. Venous blood, partial pressure, VPG. Venous blood partial pressure is about 40 millimeter mercury. Saturation is about 75% SpO2. You anesthetize a patient with normal lung usually. Diseased lung also you can anesthetize in case of emergency or critically ill patient who are waiting for surgery. But most of the time you anesthetize a patient with normal healthy lung. That means the oxygen transfer is not the factor for hypoxia in your patients. So you anesthetize patient with normal lung, unlikely to be having hypoxia due to alveolar capillary membrane problem. Unlikely to be develop hypoxia from upside because we are going to give at least 30-40 oxygen to your patients. So first two hypoxia is unlikely. Hypoxia unlikely in your anesthetized patient. Hypoxia unlikely. If you have enough blood pressure in your patient, enough cardiac output by monitoring, stagnant hypoxia also unlikely. Very, very unlikely to have histotoxic hypoxia because those are specific conditions. So histotoxic hypoxia also very, very unlikely. Only one remaining is anemic hypoxia. Only one remaining is anemic hypoxia. Due to surgery, your patient start to bleed. Due to surgery, your patient start to bleed. Because of that, your HB, hemoglobin level, which present in the blood, previously we think it is about 2.8, now it is reduced into 7 milligram per deciliter. 7 milligram per deciliter. Because of that, oxygen, amount of oxygen will carry into your tissue level is reduced. Hemoglobin is the one which carries the oxygen. Amount of oxygen will carry into the tissue level going to be reduced. Large majority of oxygen taken by your cells, remaining oxygen will go into your venous side. Your fixed deposit of venous side oxygen going to be reduced. Venous oxygen going to be reduced. If you found a patient with venous oxygen less than 65% venous saturation during the surgery, unlikely to have hypoxic hypoxia, unlikely to have stagnant hypoxia, unlikely to have histotoxic hypoxia. The only problem can have here is anemic hypoxia. What you can do? Your cardiac output is okay, no need to increase the blood pressure. Your hypoxia is not there. Even though you increase your 20% to 60%, 100%, nothing will happen. Only the problem is anemic hypoxia. You have to give blood. Very good. You can identify anemic hypoxia by doing mixed venous oxygen saturation. This is one of the major advantages of doing mixed venous gas during the surgery. You may be thinking, why is they doing mixed venous saturation or mixed venous gases during the surgery? This is the reason for doing mixed venous oxygen analyzation during the surgery. That is all regarding your oxygen. Now you can increase the oxygen if necessary. Amount of oxygen increasement, you know, you have to go through the iso-shunt line. If you want to reduce the oxygen amount, again you have to go through the iso-shunt line. You know what happened in the mixed venous oxygen. If it is less than 65, blood pressure okay. If you are providing enough oxygen, the only reason for low oxygen is less hemoglobin. You have to give blood. Thank you very much. We'll meet in the next lecture. Next lecture will be acid-base analysis. Very, very simple. Thank you very much.